Hello everyone, I'm Jakub Uniejewski, and let me bring you to maybe a bit clickbaity presentation, but just 15 minutes, so bear with me. I'm a product guy, and I do love Agile. I've been doing Agile for the last 8 years. I've been trained and certified. I've started Agile community, and I've been really fostering Agile and being part of many transformations. But I need to bring you to a story to tell you why this presentation is here. I had an idea for an amazing feature. I started as a product manager in a new area of my company. This feature, let be called an amazing feature. It was connected with searching in a marketplace, so a lot of people are searching there. It's an important area for this product. And we had a great idea. This made sense. We saw that in our competition, so that was something that we really, really wanted to build. And we went with a typical cycle, right? We talked with our engineers, we groomed that, they understood the need and the why we are doing that. We estimated it. It should take 2.5 sprints. So we went through that. After 2 sprints, we tested what we had with some UX, in a UX lab with some users. They understood the feature. And then we released that. And I was excited waiting for the results. And I got them. Oh, in the back rows, you may not see that. That was less than a 1% in desired metric that we wanted to impact, which in a business terms, it means there was no impact and there was no value, and effectively, we wasted 5 weeks of very expensive team. We did everything right? But there was a question, why this happened? And the first answer that we got from other people in the company, oh, it took you 5 weeks. If it took you 3 weeks, it would be less waste, right? So you need to be faster, you need to produce more, so you need to increase velocity. And that was traditional thinking in many companies I've seen doing Agile. So we kind of played with that thought, but then I reminded myself about another feature that another team built a few months before, and we had 3 users using this feature after some time. So I felt like, what if we're building something and we're investing like few weeks or months of work into this, and then it feels more like we're playing this feature roulette. So like we're releasing something and it works or not, and it's not really what we want to do. And if we do work faster and if we do more features, it will be just more gambling. And as some of you may know, I know, it doesn't make you win. So then this question came back. We are doing Agile, right? So why this happens? We are doing everything right. We are grooming, we are like having engaged people, and so what is the problem? And honestly, I went back to like, okay, so what is the Agile thing saying? What I learned on Agile conferences, what I learned from Agile people. And more I discovered that at least in the past, which I'm really happy to see it's changing, Agile community, Agile trainings for product owners, Agile books, they mostly focused on how to build the software, how to build the product increment, but very rarely on how to choose what to build, how to identify value, how to make sense of the work of these people, how to make sure that whatever it do makes sense for the company and for the customers. And probably in the past that was enough, but it seems, from what I've seen in many companies, that if we're doing this right now, it's not getting us where we should be. And then you tell me, oh, MVPs, we have product increments. That's the way that Agile solves this problem. And we already heard something about MVPs this morning during the keynote. I want to add one thing, what I've observed through at least 3 companies. We raised our stakeholders, our business partners, our marketing departments in the perception that MVP will be the only release they're going to get. And their perspective, what's minimal, is very different than our perspective of what's minimal. And quite often, they want to do everything to squeeze anything they can into this MVP, because that's the only thing they're going to get, because we'll iterate on that later, and we never come back to that. So then it takes 1 month, 3 months to get to this MVP, and we're back here. And all of that, what we've done, didn't matter. So then I was thinking, okay, maybe it's not about these processes and tools. Maybe we should actually go back and see why it's happening. And one of the reasons that it's happening is because we are humans. And we believe in something, and we want to prove it's right. We are biased, and we make decisions based on that. And we don't know what our customers really know, but it's very hard for us to like really be aware of that and then say to ourselves, okay, I really don't know. So if we accept the fact that we are humans, and then if we try to do something embracing that fact, what we came up with, what we're trying to do, is having a bit different mindset, a bit different approach. So what we come up with is, or we're trying to foster in the company right now, is the approach that we don't do feature ideas anymore. We start with hypotheses. And when you have a hypothesis, if you are, as we heard yesterday, curious, you want to verify or validate whether it makes sense, whether it's true, and you do it with experiments. So what we do right now, we ask ourselves every time this question. What if we had only one day to verify if we are wrong? Yes, you heard it right. If we are wrong. Because if I believe in something, I don't need to prove I'm right. I already know I'm right, right? But if I'm wrong, I don't want to learn about that in 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I want to learn that tomorrow, today, if it's possible. Because I then don't invest in that, I invest in something else. So when we ask that question, when we end up, each sprint we're trying to do something which is both delivery, where we already have high confidence that this thing will deliver value to our customers and the company, and include things or items that are more discovery. So they are more to reduce risk or increase the confidence or just identify where the value is. And as you can see here, from sprint to sprint, the ratio might differ, but we're trying to have, like every sprint, to look a bit ahead and identify what we should do next. So what we're kind of doing is, does this laser thing work? Yeah. So what we're trying to do is these things, which in gambling, totally bullshit. Am I allowed to say bullshit? Sorry. Doesn't work. In gambling, it doesn't work. It's a bad strategy. But in product development, it actually works. Because if any of these bets work out, I can invest more in there and then get more value. If it doesn't work, I can just kill it, and it's not a big cost. And it can be many different things. It could be that our team is creating a survey and sending an email to the customers to ask them why they did something or what would they do. Or it can be a survey that they would put into the product after a user does something, some particular action. We may add tracking or logging to learn more about what users are doing there right now. We may work on some report, both from external data and our internal data. What is quite interesting is as well, we're trying to learn by turning features off and see if that actually helps the product, if people are screaming, if that makes the product faster, if that helps some people to discover other features. We may, in the sprint, carve some time for the whole team to go to a UX lab and test with users and see whether the prototype and mockup makes sense or not in users' eyes. The last thing is something that they really being more and more fan of recently, and this is called prototyping. And this is something that you already heard before or yesterday from Joshua. He called it a fake feature. And you already saw one example from him. I want to give you two more. So we had this hypothesis that if some people search in our product, in our marketplace for some items, they would be interested in knowing next day that what there are new ones, and they would come back. And then if we have a way for them to come back or let them know, they would come back and they would get better retention. Starting with this hypothesis, what would be the way to test it out? A way to attract people back would be push notifications, and the way to prove it wrong would be, oh, maybe we'll build these push notifications, but people will not sign up for them. Right? In our case, building push notification system for this product would take 6 weeks. It's a lot, but in our case, that was the reality. So what we did, we effectively asked our people, like we built the front end of the feature. After users searched, they were asked, do you want to know tomorrow if there are no new items? And some of them say yes, and some of them say no. What they didn't know, there was no push notifications, no system for that. There's nothing. We did save their preference, but there was nothing that would bring them to the product next day. It was fake, but we learned from that that similar as this Joshua example, some people sign up for that, but it was too few to justify 6 weeks of investment. It wouldn't get us where we would want to be business-wise or product-wise. Another example, what we called replies fast. We had a hypothesis that when someone wants to buy something from another user, from a seller, it would make them more convinced to contact a seller if they knew that this seller is more trustworthy because they reply fast and they are very responsive. And a way to test it out would be with a badge that we would put on the profile. And you've seen such badges on like Facebook pages. In our case, again, that would take 3 to 4 weeks to build the feature, to build algorithms for that, sort out edge cases, 10 different languages, many countries, training customer service, creating help desk pages, and so on. So what the team did, we effectively faked that very, very much. We just like randomly took 1,000 of more quite active sellers. We created a text file. We put it into the one app, and we released that for the week. And in one app, for some group of sellers, this badge was on. And we were measuring whether these sellers in this app would get more traction, more transactions from buyers. Thanks to a week of measuring and 2 days of work, we knew that this is something that it's worth to do. It was like 4% uptake, which in this particular metric, it's huge. So we decided it was would make sense to go further with that. And maybe the results of the final feature wouldn't be exactly the same, but we knew that it's something that is worth to follow. For us, it's still work in progress. It's not like all teams are doing that, and it's not every sprint is exactly the same. But we do see signals that this is a good direction. First, we believe that we created a safe-to-fail environment, and we do see teams being more engaged and engineers being really creative on how they can prove or make some hypothesis wrong. So they experiment. It's fun for them. We believe we're learning faster because every week, one of the teams is sending some email, oh, we learned this is not working, we're killing this after this experiment. Or we're seeing some promise here, and we're going to follow up and invest more. So we have at least the impression that we are learning much faster right now. And as I mentioned, we had this amazing feature. We had like less than 1% uptake, and we had another amazing feature. We had 3 users in the past year. We believe that at least partially thankfully to this approach, we didn't have any project or big feature failing or having no impact in last few months. So we are really happy with that because we believe that this is helping. We see accelerated growth of the company, and we believe that this is part of it. Wrapping up, I do love Agile, and honestly, I do believe that whatever I told you today is part of Agile. It is part of Agile mindset, it's part of Agile manifesto. This is modernized, maybe evolved Agile. But what I've seen in many companies, you can call it lean, you can call it whatever, what I've seen in many companies that were doing Agile, they were not doing this. And if you're doing your Agile without discovery, without lean, without identifying value, you're effectively playing against the casino, and it's not going to be big win. It's not going to be win. So I want to leave you with one thing. Whenever you have idea for a great feature or you see a great opportunity, think this one question. What if you had only one day to prove you're wrong? And test it out. Thank you very much.